It's the summer of 2010. I'm out in the park in a late night with my friends. Everyone is laughing. It's the first day of the summer holiday, the longest holiday of the year. And there's a bunch of laughs and banter going around. Everyone's essentially testing their creativity on different types of jokes and of silly things they could do and say to make the others laugh. Everyone's having a good time, right? Well, all except me, because at the same time I'm having a bunch of internal thoughts and I end up just looking at them and kind of partaking in the conversation, but not exactly, because I'm overthinking about all the jokes that I could be saying, but there is something holding me back from doing so. And I end up not saying anything, just like always. But I promise myself that I will do it one day. One day I will overcome this fear of me saying a joke and no one laughing, awkward silence persisting essentially. This cycle goes on and on and on for multiple years, and that day almost never comes essentially. I reach my very early 20s and I can still feel seeds of this memory, of not even this memory because it was not just one, but a series of similar memories which haunt me and which hold me back from saying exactly what I want to say. And in my very early 20s, I had a brilliant track record. I had just lost 20 kilograms of fat. I had gained some decent muscle. I read a bunch of books on social skills and personal development in general, watched some podcasts on communication, yet nothing worked. And I tried so hard, I worked so hard on this, but I still felt something holding me back. But then I realized I found something, a philosophy, a way of looking at life that I believe can get you the results I got, but 1,000 times faster. So if you relate to me, if you relate to my story, if you also feel this social anxiety and this wall between, this barrier between who you are and who you would like to be, then stick with the video, and I really hope this will change your life. The concept I want to be talking about is a concept of Adlerian psychology. So this is one of the grandfathers of modern psychology, called Alfred Adler, and this guy came up with a very different philosophy, a very different way of looking at the world. And I believe this might be the key to solving several problems, maybe all the problems of interpersonal relationships. As you can see in the title, the idea I want to talk about is that the worrying that goes on in your head about your output, about your contribution to the community is not your task. And this principle is presented by Adler as the separation of tasks. So essentially, as I said, your task is not to worry about what you look like, about what you sound like and all that stuff. Your task is to provide value to the community. Because in a way, like, this is not the only reason, or the word is not that grim as you might think after hearing what I'm about to say, but people want value, right? People don't really care about how you look, how you speak, or all that stuff. And you probably knew that before, but just remember that this is your only task. Your task is to provide the value. Your task is not to worry about what others will think of you providing the value, because they only care about the value you provide as well. They don't care about how you do that. So think of it this way. Say you have your daily course, right? You wake up, you brush your teeth, you make your bed, you go on a run maybe, you go to the gym, you do your work and whatever. And then there is the task of worrying about what others think of your contribution, of the way you look and act while you're contributing, while you're providing value. But how is that your task? That's a very mentally draining and mentally demanding task. It's just like you would be an employee at a company and one day you decide, I'm gonna take the CEO's responsibilities on me as well. Although the CEO has already done them, I don't care, I'm gonna do them as well. It's stupid and it helps no one essentially. Now you might remember all the people online talking about how you should take 100% responsibility of everything going on in your life. All those stoic quotes and all that stuff. And you should. Like, this doesn't give us permission to be lazy or avoid our tasks. But we should have a clear separation between our tasks and the tasks of others. And how do you make that separation? Well, it's all about value. Who gains the value from this task? And you don't gain the value from worrying about what others think. That's definitely not the case. And as long as you have this mentality of if others think great of me, then I'm great, then you're always a slave to their feedback. And you're always a slave to what they think of you. You have no freedom. As much money, as much clout, as great of body you develop, you have no freedom because you're always in this cage of other people's feedback. But you could take that feedback and iterate on it, right? Like, if people don't give you the desired feedback socially, you could take that as an example and accept yourself as you currently are. Be like, okay, I am not as good socially as I want to be. What can I do on this? How can I improve? And then just go ahead and improve it. Like, information is everywhere. This is why feedback is useful. And it is your task to implement it, to interpret and implement the feedback. But you should only take ownership of the things that are your tasks, and worrying about what other people think of you, that is not your task. How do you determine if something is your task or not? Well, essentially, if you get the value from that thing, then it is your task. If you get the value from that thing, it is your task. If other people get the value from it, it's other people's task. It's as simple as that. And by worrying about something, like, after you provide the value, everything that happens after that, that's not your responsibility. That's other people's responsibility. They are getting the value from what you contributed to their lives. And your value is already given. You are the provider here. You are not the one that's receiving something. As I said, you might receive the feedback, but that's all essentially. And it shouldn't really change your perception of yourself. Now you might think that, okay, what if everyone separates their tasks perfectly? Wouldn't the world be a lonely place? Because everyone would be just very selfish and very self-centered. Well, not necessarily, because you will still have your friends, and the principles of friendship would still apply, right? If you are friends with B, then it's your responsibility to go ahead and offer your help to B. If B is in a tough situation, you offer your help to B. But if B refuses your help, then it's not your responsibility anymore. That's his task, and he wants to deal with this himself. But now you might think that, okay, but there are some people that expect me to jump in and get into their lives and help them without even acknowledging that they need my help. And that's a big communication issue right there. Like, that should not happen. You should fix that immediately. If everyone separated their tasks properly, then this situation wouldn't even occur anyway. Because people would just know that, okay, it's my task to be honest and to accept help if I need help, if I really feel like I need help. Just take some time and imagine a world in which everyone implements this separation of tasks. There is no social anxiety, there is no subordination, there is no superiority or inferiority. The relationships between people are horizontal instead of vertical. So you might think that you are not in that good of physical shape right now, and you see a guy that's really in shape, really shredded, and you automatically label him as being above you, as being superior to you. But in fact, he's just another human being. He's dealing with other things himself, surely. So you are just equals in a way. So just have this constant reminder of, is this my responsibility? As soon as you spot yourself starting to worry about what others will think of your contribution, of your actions, just ask yourself, is this really my task? Is it worth it for me to waste maybe hours of my days, tens of hours of my week to think about this, to worry about this, and this worrying will bring nothing to my life? I could literally be providing more value to the society or just providing more value to myself. And I spend the time worrying, I spend the time in a state of anxiousness. That's never worth it. And it's such a freeing experience when you realize that other people don't even care about it. Other people don't care about how you behave as much as you would think they do. Because think about this for a second. When you are, let's say you're interacting with a stranger, okay, it's your first interaction with them. And after you finish the interaction, you kind of think to yourself that I didn't perform as I wanted to. And they probably think I'm a bit awkward. Guess what they're thinking? They're thinking the exact same thing that you are thinking, but from their perspective. They're also thinking that they were the awkward ones and that you think that they're awkward. The concepts I presented in this video are Alfred Adler's work, and I really identify with that, being a very logical person myself. And if you watched so far, I believe you do as well. So I really suggest you look into his works maybe, or if you just want it viewed from my perspective of life as well and through my experiences, then you could also just keep watching my videos, because more videos on these topics will come out. If you want to read a good book about this, I suggest you start reading The Courage to Be Disliked by two Japanese men. I don't really know their names, but it's a really good book, so I really suggest you look into that.